Erev Shabbat Shalom to everybody. I think, although we're not back in shul yet, we should be there. I think we had an amazing week as a community, going through lectures and shiurim and tefillot and aliyah stories and even falafel through all these special days of Yom HaZikaron and Yom HaAtzmaut and Yom HaShoah that was last week. And I really want to thank everybody who was involved here, from the organizers to everyone who contributed to a shiur or a lecture or organize something or share their aliyah story. Thank you to all. And I think it's so amazing to feel part of such a great community. Going into Parashat Achrei-Kdoshim, what's amazing about Parashat Shavua, we get back to it every year, and every time we read it, we can see it from a different perspective. And Parashat Achrei-Mot, Shnei Bnei Aharon, Nadav Avihu, throws us back 3 parshas ago to Parashat Shmini, where Nadav Avihu, Hikrivu Esh Zara, they brought in a fire that they weren't commanded to, and they died on the spot. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu talks to Aaron and tell Aaron HaKohen, their father, and tells him, don't go into Kodesh HaKodashim at any time, but only within certain restrictions. As we know, it happened only once a year on Yom HaKippurim, when the Kohen Gadol would go into Kodesh HaKodashim. And Rashi, at the beginning of the parsha, brings the words of Chazal that say, when HaKadosh Baruch Hu is commanding Aaron and mentioning that it's Achrei-Mot Shnei Bnei Aaron, after the death of his two sons, he's telling him, make sure you don't do what other people did and suffered from. That is, in other words, strengthening the command by mentioning the consequences that already happened. And what's interesting is that when we think of Nadav Avihu, we imagine that what they did was something that, seems weird. Why would they walk into the Mishkan with ash, with fire, and to bring Ktoret, like incense or korbanot? Like, who asked them even to do that? But actually, if we learn a bit of the history of that time, the Gemara tells us that Nadav Avihu, it's actually Meforash in Chumash Shmot, that Nadav Avihu were actually serving already from the time of Ma'amad Har Sinai. Anytime Am Yisrael were bringing korbanot before the Mishkan, Nadav Avihu were the people bringing korbanot. So what really happened on the day of the inauguration of the Mishkan was they thought the business is as usual. They kept on doing things as they were used to. Okay, we're bringing sacrifices, korbanot. We're going to bring the fire, everything, incense after the korbanot. Everything is usual. But they didn't realize, no, things have changed. Suddenly we have to wait for the fire to come down from above. Suddenly the rules have changed. Aharon HaKohen is now the Kohen Gadol. There's a Mishkan. Things work differently, and the consequences, we know what happened. So what happened here is not, it's an action that came out of habit, maybe, in a way that they didn't realize that something has to change. Something changed here. We're going into the Mishkan. It has to be different than the way we were serving HaKadosh Baruch Hu before. And I was thinking to myself, reading this Rashi again at the beginning of the parsha, I'm thinking about it. We've been almost 2 months, unfortunately, out of shul. And at home, maybe davening on a porch or near your house, according to the rules, obviously, with a minyan in the past week or two. But all our habits have changed. We've got used to a lot of new things in the house, some better, some worse, but a lot of great things are happening, I'm sure, in your homes. And I'm sure we miss davening in shul a lot. So I would like to challenge you with one thing right now, and bring a pen and paper. And on this paper, go do it, write 2 things. 1, write one thing you're going to miss when we go back to Shigra, when you're not going to be at home, not sitting around with the family. Something related to your davening, to your home conduct, to anything, one thing you're going to miss. Write down. And number 2, write something that or you want to be different next time you come to shul. That you want to be different in shul, or especially for yourself with your davening, or anything related to shul that you want to be different. Write those 2 things that are obviously dependent on you, and fold a piece of paper, put in an envelope. Let's hope that doesn't take too long till we actually go back, have our lives back to normal. But when that happens, when we go back into shul, open it up beforehand. Look what you wrote down. Look what you wrote that you're going to miss, and look what you want to change. Make sure you keep on doing those things you thought you don't want to miss, and make sure that you're taking upon yourself those things that you want to change. We always have to have the Mora Mikdash, Mikdashit Yirau, and the fear of going to the Mikdash and the awesomeness of it, and feel like it's new every time we come B'ezrat Hashem, and not get into habits. And if this time can teach us that, I think we've gained a lot. Shabbat Shalom.